everybody, my name is Rolo and today we're reading more Reddit stories. So if that's your cup of tea, please do like and subscribe, and let's get into today's first story. Today's first story comes from the user RA199299 with the title, Am I the asshole for ruining my brother and his wife's pregnancy news with the news of my recent diagnosis? Bit of backstory. My brother and I are very close. His wife and I, not so much. We've had our fair share of tension. Anyway, I fell sick in the middle of May, but held off getting checked out because of COVID and safety reasons. Eventually, when June started, I decided to go check it out. Turns out it was stage 2 breast cancer. I decided to tell my family 2 days ago since lockdown laws have been lifted, so I invited everyone over, and when I told my brother and his wife, he said, okay, that's fine because he has news to share too. So our family gathered and my brother decided to go first. He did ask me, and he announced that his wife is 4 months pregnant. Of course, everyone was overjoyed. After about an hour, they asked about my news, and I knew this was probably the last time in a long time before I had everyone here in person, so I told them. And of course, the initial joyous atmosphere was gone. The rest of the evening was a lot of support for me and not a lot of attention on my brother and his wife. My brother didn't seem to mind this as he was quite distraught with my news, but I saw his wife pretty upset and cornered off. So I decided to approach her and I apologized for the timing of it all. She told me I could have waited a bit and Skyped everyone with the news, as it's just stage 2, and let my brother and her have this moment with their family. I told her I initially called this meeting for this exact reason, and she said she knows, but I knew my news would dampen everyone's mood. So I told her she's being ridiculous, and I wanted to tell my family in person since they are my family after all. And she burst into tears and demanded to go home, which my brother obliged to, even though he was so confused. He promised he would come see me soon since he stays close by to me. Later that evening, I got a message from him asking if I told his wife that she isn't part of the family and that I deliberately wanted the attention on me because that's what she is upset about. Also the next day, my parents called me to check up on me, and my mum mentioned that my brother's wife called yesterday evening, really upset, telling them what I said and claiming I'm jealous because she's pregnant and I'm trying to ruin her life. I told my parents what actually happened and what I really said, and it's caused not only tension between his wife and me, but my parents and her too. And now she's also blaming me for my parents not being her biggest fans. My brother is torn, but has been trying to talk to her, which results in more tears and a strain in their marriage. All this drama is making me think I should have just called up everyone or just told my brother that his news had to wait. Even though that would have been selfish of me. I really wanted my family's support that day, but I'm starting to rethink whether it was worth all this drama and potentially causing further problems. So Reddit. Am I the asshole? You're not the asshole at all, OP. I can understand your sister-in-law being upset that her happy news of, announcing her pregnancy was taken over. That's natural to be upset. But you organized this event specifically to announce your cancer to the family so you could have that support system, and she actively tried to break that down that evening and also over the coming days where she contacted your parents and she's twisted the story to your brother. I feel like the only way that this could have been avoided, but obviously you wouldn't think about it in the moment, is when your brother asked, oh, can I go first? You should have asked, is your news good news? Because if so, I think I should go first, and then the good news can uplift the spirits of the evening instead of being the good news and then boom, cancer, But obviously, you can't fix that, and what has happened in the aftermath is not your fault, so I really hope that your brother manages to reel his wife in and fix this situation somehow. But it is nice that your parents are on your side after you gave your truth of the story. Let's jump into some comments. Left Hand of Kindness says, not the asshole. You called the meeting for your news. Also, if sharing it in person was unimportant, then why couldn't your sister-in-law share the pregnancy news over Skype? Her own reasoning should have been good enough for her. And good luck with your treatment. Prince Lee says, "Not the asshole. I was so ready to call you the asshole from the title alone. But you arranged this meeting to break the news of something very serious, and your brother decided that it was time to break news as well. Could you have handled this better? Well, yes. You could have asked him privately what his news was when he said he had something to announce so that it didn't get awkward like this. But regardless, the blame does not fall on you at all. But the fact is that cancer is, like, a bit more of an important thing to announce than a pregnancy, and the sister-in-law made a huge misstep getting jealous and saying what she did. Skype? Really? She's definitely the asshole here. There are things more important than a pregnancy, especially because a pregnancy has a lot more of a time frame to announce than a disease you're going to need to get some pretty obvious treatment for. Also, I wish you a good recovery." OP comes into the post with an edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to get so much lovely feedback, and to think I was slightly scared to post this. Thank you all for the unnerving support, love, and huggies. I read, and I'm still reading, every single comment made, and I really appreciate it. I will most definitely fight through. Thank you all so much. Just wanted to add a few points. When brother told me he had news too, he was really super excited and added it as a, "just by the way, I'll announce mine too." He did apologize and admit afterwards if he had known what my news was, he would have held off his because right now, what's important is my recovery. He also admitted he wrongfully assumed that my news would automatically be good. I'm usually always the happy chirpy one. His wife wasn't too fond of this either. Brother's wife also had a miscarriage beginning of the year, which is why this pregnancy, I suppose, was extra special. I'm truly happy for them. I just wish you could understand, like one user pointed out, that this isn't a competition. I don't know why I couldn't tell him over the phone. We are really close, and I knew it would have crushed him. I couldn't steal him away at the gathering either because he was the last to arrive. And when he did, he just quickly mentioned, "Hey OP, mind if I go first?" And I was frozen on the spot, so I said, "Sure." Also pretty silly on my part. It's hard to explain that feeling where you're absolutely frozen and there's a big lump in your throat that prevents you from speaking, but saying the news in the first place was really difficult to begin with. Edit. Just another point to clarify. I'm not a saint, but my brother does mean a heck of a lot to me. It's exactly why his wife and I cleared the air between us before, because I wouldn't deliberately make his life hell by pissing her off. Hence why, when I saw she was upset, I approached her. And when she told me I could have Skyped, I responded with, I wanted to tell them in person since they are my family and they would probably want to be there with me when I broke the news. I never once implied she wasn't part of it. My brother and parents know this. OP updates the post a month later. Sorry this is so late. A lot has been happening the past month since the news came out. And since I've received a tremendous amount of love from Reddit, I thought it would only be fair to let you all know what happened. First and foremost, I've started treatment. Also one of the reasons I couldn't update sooner. Thank you all for your well wishes. I plan on bouncing back as soon as I can. Anyway, I could see that my brother was under a lot of stress, and I finally sat him down to talk about it properly. He showed me a bunch of texts that his wife sent him, telling him that he is a shitty father for choosing me over his family. She said I was seeking attention and nobody cares about her. And one thing that really got to me was that she told him to choose once and for all, and if he picks me, he loses her and his child. And if he picks her, she doesn't want me in their lives at all. I felt terrible. Not only for him, but knowing that I could have prevented all of this. I took the time to apologize for putting him in this position, and if I had just pulled him aside soon enough and given him a heads up, he would have truly understood. Brother tells me I shouldn't apologize because he should have been more considerate. He also mentioned that his wife would have probably still gotten mad at him whether they did or didn't give the news that day. So I decided I should invite her over for coffee to sort everything out. I spoke to her alone. I asked her about everything. She was very cold and didn't really answer. So I started talking first by apologizing if I made her feel excluded from the family or that her pregnancy was of any less importance. I explained that I should have given them a heads up so we could have avoided what happened altogether, and that was my fault, and that I was very sorry. But I also mentioned that the way she reacted and went to the extent of lying wasn't okay. She then started crying and vented out about how angry she's been and that my brother always puts me first, and recently they've been going through a rough patch, and when he sided with me, it made her even more upset and feel even more lonely. She admitted she lied to my parents and my brother, saying that she was hoping they would show her more sympathy, and when they were cold to her, she got even more upset. After hours of talking, she apologized for how she acted and has been acting, and she would like if we moved on from this. My brother came later and they both went home. He texted me saying they both spoke for hours and agreed to couples therapy. My parents are currently living with me and helping me out tremendously, but they are not quite happy with my sister-in-law yet. Although they promised to try to work things out, things finally seem to calm down, and let's hope it stays that way. None of this would have been possible without the feedback you all gave me, and I'm indebted to that, so thank you. ETA, all of you are so kind, honestly, but I wanted to clarify that I'm no saint, nor am I selfless. I know what happened wasn't entirely on me, however, in order to focus solely on my recovery, I can't be stressed out about this whole situation and have all this tension around. Seeing my brother being put in that position, and my sister-in-law, as hurtful as she was, being upset and holding hatred can affect herself and the baby. I did what I could to fix things so that everyone could focus on being healthy and being positive without holding any grudges. I know I sure will. I know my sister-in-law. She can be very stubborn and unreasonable, and if I left things in her hands, I'm 99% sure it would have resulted in much worse circumstances than me putting the first hand forward. At least now I can focus on my recovery without any distress or toxicity. I'm human. I felt angry. I felt upset. Yeah, I wanted to give her a piece of my mind, but in doing so, that isn't helping myself, her, my brother, or my family, only damaging things further. This realization is what prompted me to let it all go and focus on positivity and my mental and physical health. Last edit. I spent all day on Reddit reading every little or big comment made, and honestly, I didn't know you could feel so much support from people you never met. You are all amazing humans. Thank you all for the upvotes, comments, and awards. And I'm still reading every single comment, but this will be my final edit, and for the people who asked, I'm 24. You know, I just have to go out and commend OP here for being the bigger person in this situation. She put her brother's happiness, even sister-in-law's health and the baby's health, above her own feelings, her own emotions in this situation. She just wanted it resolved so everything can go back to normal. I wish brother the best of luck in marriage counseling, and honestly, I hope that it helps sister-in-law and she can change and be a better wife and a good mother in the future. Thank you so much for your story, OP, and let's get into one more story. Our next story comes from the user glitteringmap9927 with the title, Am I the asshole for refusing to pay my niece's tuition because I'm saving for my dream and I'm child-free? I, 30 female, am single and child-free by choice. And right now, I'm in the final stretch of saving up for the thing I've dreamt about for years. My own place. Which would be a mix of a home and a studio for a business I've been setting up for a long time. I have zero shame in saying it's become everything to me. Late nights poring over plans, skipping nights out, putting aside bonuses and every extra penny I make. My sister, 36 female, married with 5 kids, with one coming on the way, just dropped a bomb when she asked me to cover my youngest niece's tuition, telling me it's because you don't have anyone else to think about, and straight up expecting me to pony up to help her out because a baby's coming. I've been sending her money every now and then the past years when I have some extra to help out, and get the kids some new things for school and stuff, but I've placed a boundary starting last year and have been spending less. I love my niece. I really do. I love all my nephews and nieces more than anything. They're all amazing kids, and they light up my world. They deserve all the best. But they are my sister and her husband's responsibilities. I explained that I simply can't right now. Maybe someday, but I need to protect the savings I've built as of the moment. I told her that I'm stretched to the bone financially as it is, and that's when it all went dark. My sister called me selfish, said I don't care about family, that I'm prioritizing myself over her kids. And then she stopped speaking to me and refused to visit my parents' home when she gets wind that I'm visiting. It's been months since I last saw my nephews and nieces. I've tried reaching out, thinking maybe emotions cooled, but nada. I keep telling myself, I'm not saying no to my niece. I'm saying no to derailing my future. But I didn't expect to be treated like this, or to feel like I'm losing my beloved nephews and nieces because I drew a financial boundary. So am I the asshole here? Am I the asshole for protecting my dreams, even though I love my niece so much? You're not the asshole at all, OP. If your sister and her husband can't afford these children, they should be on birth control, and they should not be having more children, adding to the financial strain and adding to the people around them's financial strain, because it seems they have no problem asking others for help. And they don't seem to consider that what they're asking for is something the other person needs to do out of the kindness of the heart, not out of an obligation. And that they're demanding like this is just going to make it so that nieces and nephews don't have anything coming from anybody in the future because the parents ruined it for them. But let's check out some comments and see what they think. Popular Aid 6790 says, "Not your monkeys, not your circus. And rude to ask you to cover it just because you don't have kids. 5 kids are a hell of a lot of kids. She and her spouse should have planned better. Their lack of control and responsibility is not your problem. Your responsibility is to yourself. You are planning and saving for the future you desire and deserve. Don't fall prey to her manipulation. Stay strong and live the life you have worked so hard for." Go Melistic says, "Of course you are not the asshole. Your sister is not entitled to your money. You are allowed to have your own dreams and priorities without apology. Her using her children to blackmail you is straight up abusive. I am sorry you have lost a sister and nibblings, but clearly you're nothing more than an ATM to her." Anyway, that's where I'll leave it today, guys. What are your thoughts on the stories that we had today? Make sure to leave them in the comments below, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye bye!